If this is your first time on my channel, welcome Red Heart. I try to give you really good content every day. If you like it, subscribe now, so I know you're on my side. The name Tom Silva has been legendary since the airing of This Old House, which became Ask This Old House. Homeowners and Dyers from Home, who is Tom Silva renovation to construction. Tommy has a solution, and it's indeed satisfying to watch him make transforming renovations and turn the dreams of homeowners into reality. And who can ever forget Tom's genius when it comes to giving out useful tips to home dyers? While a lot of us have witnessed his professional life since the 80s, a lot of fans are in the know about his personal life. What exactly is Tom up to today? Does he have any more exciting projects outside of the show? Well, let's dive in to uncover what really happened to Tom Silva. Before we get into it, let's first get to know who Tom Silva really is. Tom Silva was born on January 17, 1947 in Lexington, Massachusetts, USA, and from a young age it seemed like he was destined to be a general contractor. Growing up in a family that read on hands-on work, it was no surprise that Tom got hooked on trades early on. His dad was a builder and both his mom and grandma were seamstresses, so he was surrounded by that kind of environment. At age 3, he helped his father build a fallout shelter, breaking some things along the way. He enjoyed spending summer breaks renovating homes with his dad, and as one of 5 boys, always had a project around the house. The family had a great time together in Massachusetts, and little Tommy didn't shy away from geology. Tom joined his father's business when he and his brothers were smaller. During the Cold War, a family lived in an old colonial house built in 1787 and decided to build a nuclear-proof basement. Despite not knowing what they were doing, they decided to take the risk and build their own shelter. Tom Silva and his nephew Charles built a fallout shelter to protect them from radiation. The project ignited a lifelong passion for them, and they decided to expand their business by starting the Silva Brothers Construction Company. Tom has always appreciated sticking to traditional ways of doing things. While he's open to trying out new tools and materials, he really prefers techniques that have stood the test of time. This love for durability makes his job as a general contractor super rewarding. And how he got involved with This Old House: he really enjoys driving around with his kids and pointing out the houses he built decades ago. As for how he got involved with This Old House, he grew up next to Russ Morris, the guy who created the show. His company with his brother Silva Brothers Construction was first recognized when they built the first set for the Victory Garden. When it first started, Russ reached out to Tom, but Tom said he was too busy. Russ didn't give up though and brought the crew to one of Tom's job sites to chat about the work. That's when Tom's interest in TV sparked. He really enjoys being part of the teams from This Old House and Ask This Old House, and loves helping people out by sharing his skills, techniques and advice. When viewers come up to thank him, it really makes him feel appreciated. In his spare time, he can often be found in his workshop making furniture or out on his boat. From then on, he played a big part, focused on show development and vital team member outside company collaboration. Tom writes for Old House magazine and other publications that focus on outdoor and gardening topics. The podcast began with James Underwood Crockett as the host, but he passed away. Over time, Bob Thompson expanded the show to include pruning, planting, pest control, and potting. Guests such as Jamie Day, Michael Weone, and Roger Swain joined the show, which ran from 2013 to 2015 before taking a break to collaborate with Edible Communities. The show is considered one of the first gardening shows. The episode, Weatherb Farm Westwood House Renovation, was a highlight, but it was also the first time the host didn't agree on the project's direction. Tom, who used to sew, even made clothes for his daughter in elementary school. He married Susan Silva in the late 80s and has maintained a solid relationship for over 30 years. Tom adds a unique touch with his DIY skills. Tom was the lead carpenter for the show, leading renovation and construction projects that impressed the audience. He was skilled with tools and had a knack for explaining complex construction ideas in a simple manner. DIY fans appreciated his helpful tips and insights. Tom enjoys working with other teams from This Old House. He feels that his job is appreciated when others praise him after he finishes. Tom is renowned for transforming dilapidated properties into architectural gems, such as the Carlisle House from the 1820s. Needed urgent assistance with a farmhouse. Tom and his crew renovated the foundation, installed a new roof, and restored its original charm. Tommy converted a claustrophobic Arlington arts and crafts house into a vibrant space. The efficient haven addressed structural concerns, incorporated a dormer, and included eco-friendly amenities. The ancient Lexington bed and breakfast was one of his most notable projects, requiring a significant renovation. Tom meticulously restored woodwork doors and windows and revamped guest rooms on this old house. The team tackled challenging home renovation tasks, such as placing electrical outlets in a modern kitchen with more windows than wall space, despite building codes requiring outlets every few feet. Heath Eastman, the head electrician, suggests hiding outlets in retractable receptacles that pop up from the countertop. The homeowner, Sunil, is concerned about the clean look of the countertop, but he accepts the solution, saying he wouldn't want anything on the countertop. Despite its surface, the code is crucial for understanding the essence of this antique house. This old house distinguishes itself by allowing experts like Eastman to share their knowledge with a national audience, turning a showdown into a learning opportunity for homeowners. The crew front and center, probably knowing that without them there wouldn't be any action at all. Tom has some solid tips for homeowners diving into a full house renovation. Start small, little by little. He says that renovations can totally overwhelm anyone, and he recommends picking one little room to focus on first and getting it completely. Tips: done. Take care of everything in that space. Renovation, painting, finishing touches, and furnishing. Once you've wrapped it up, put a bottle of wine on a table in the corner, close the door and step back for a moment. Anytime you start feeling stressed about the bigger renovation projects, just pop into that room and enjoy it as a reminder of why you started. He says a lot of folks try to tackle the whole house at once and end up feeling frantic, or worse, never even finish. He also brought up a good point about how everyone wants the best of everything, but often their budget just won't allow it. It's important not to cut corners on things that don't usually get noticed, like windows, insulation, heating and cooling systems. The foundation. Modern home construction includes framing and siding, which can extend home life and save money over time. Tom mentioned that even with all the tech improvements, older wood was actually tougher. Nowadays they use younger trees for lumber, which soak up moisture faster, so the trim doesn't hold up as well. He also highlighted some manufactured trims from brands like Boral or Ozak that are better quality, but even the best materials won't last without the right prep work. Like he said, even the fanciest paint won't last if it's not applied properly. You've probably noticed that the spotlight in home improvement shows usually shines more on the hosts than on the skilled tradespeople who actually do the heavy lifting. When these workers do make an appearance, it's usually just for a quick clip, and they often end up zooming around like little squirrels while hammering, lifting, plastering and painting. Their hard work often feels like a side note to the excitement of the main hosts. For example, you might think that the show Windy City Rehab is all about home renovations in Chicago. It really revolves around Allison Victoria, the show's star. You've probably seen her posing with a sledgehammer in the promos. She's a pro at flipping houses and has a pretty distinct style. Victoria has a distinct advantage in the traditionally male-dominated construction industry. This pattern of construction workers being absent from renovation montages is not limited to Victoria's show, but is a widespread issue in home improvement. The U.S. is experiencing a shortage of skilled labor due to factors such as the Great Recession, the retirement of experienced workers, and a lack of interest in blue-collar jobs among high school graduates. While the issue is complex, these programs may discourage young people from pursuing careers in these fields. This old house does a great job of highlighting its workers, including young apprentices. This leads us to how Tom Silva became successful because of the rise of the show. So let's talk about his success. Since part of Tom's paychecks come from his shows, it's no surprise that people are curious about his finances. It's worth mentioning that he doesn't just earn from the show, he also brings in money through various other projects where he uses his skills. Fans can be happy to know that Tom is still active as a general contractor on the show. He joined in 1986 and has been a key figure ever since. The team has changed a bit over the years, but it still keeps its original vibe. Bob V was the first host, and then Steve Thomas took over in 1989. In 2003, Steve passed the hosting baton to Kevin O'Connor, who's been the current host. Longtime fans might remember master carpenter Norm Abram, but he's no longer with the show since 2022. As of 2024, Tom Silva's estimated net worth is around $2.5 million. Although everything was working well in Tom's favor throughout his career, it wasn't until he faced an untimely tragedy for the first time in its 21 fire years. This old house is tackling a rebuild of a house that belongs to one of its own members, contractor Dick Silva, who happens to be Tom's brother. This season kicks off with a project that's different from the usual renovations. The house in Lexington, Massachusetts was severely damaged by a fire on March 9, 1999, and was completely rebuilt from the ground up. Even though Norm Abrams, the show's master carpenter, isn't a fan of fire jobs, the crew felt it was important to take this one on. During the season premiere on October 2, viewers saw how Tom dealt with the charred remains. It was an emotional experience for Tom, who had helped with many of his brother's home improvement projects over the last 30 years. The fire was a big deal, with 7 fire trucks from 3 towns working tirelessly for 5 hours to put it out as Dick watched everything unfold. Friends and family, including Tom and John, shared tears and hugs, feeling the cold winter air. They finally got the last embers out by 4:30 p.m. Thankfully no one was hurt except for Penny, the Silva's 7-year-old sharp. Before she could squeeze through the dog door, the flames singed her fur and filled her lungs with smoke. But the house Dick and his wife Sandra had called home for 32 years, where they raised their 3 daughters, was completely wrecked. The place was a total disaster, from the basement all the way up to the roof. In the morning light, it looked like it had been hit by a bomb. Half of the back roof was gone, every window was shattered, and the vinyl siding was hanging off in melted strips. Inside, part of the second floor had collapsed onto the first. Amidst the wreckage there were sad reminders, like a charred ceramic carousel horse and some tiny cars melted together, echoing a home that used to be full of antique train sets, clocks, toys and tools. On that same day, while digging through the wet mess in the basement, Al Milani, a guy from the Byler Fire Department, figured out that the fire started near the heating system, but he couldn't pinpoint exactly how it started. He thought the fire probably smoldered for more than an hour before anyone noticed. To director Russ Morrish pointed out, the problem is that everyone around here is working, so nobody was around to hear the smoke alarms or see anything weird. In the end, it was a passerby who got worried about the smoke coming from the chimney and called the fire department. Luckily the house and everything in it were insured for replacement value. Dick and Sandra hired a public adjuster to help them figure out their losses and deal with the insurance company, and they expect to get fully reimbursed. It's a tough process, but it's necessary, Dick said. He mentioned that in the workshop down in the cellar, I think I had about $36,000 worth of tools. The house has been torn down and they're working on building a new one in a style that the show's architect Chris Dmaz calls folk Victorian. A new foundation is in place. New siding is going up and they're putting on a new roof. Tom, now almost 80 years old, has completed numerous projects, including turning burls into bowls, transforming a wooden beam into a cookie jar, making a baby rattle, crafting a baseball bat, designing table legs, and creating Christmas ornaments. He also created an engagement ring and a special box for it.